Michael, Masterfoods. What's going on, brother?
Guys, thank you so much. Just did this tour and I felt like I was running around for like 20 straight minutes. So congratulations on everything you guys have put together, man. It's extremely impressive. And more impressive is that you guys are still the ones behind the wheel. It's very difficult to do when building something at this scale and supporting so many great brands. So congrats, man.
Thank you. It's humbling. You know, Jesse's done a solid job. You know, he's been here every step of the way before Simpson Labs. And I tip my hat to our VP of operations.
Yeah.
Got promoted not too long ago. So congratulations, Jesse.
Thank you.
Vice President. So yeah, it's been an absolute blessing and an honor. And we're just glad that we're still here doing what we love to do every day, providing jobs, making great products. It's great. I wouldn't change anything about it. So
where do you guys see a lot of the brands having the hardest times right now?
Proteins.
Protein?
Yeah. Like we're talking a little bit ago, the pricing's just astronomical.
Yeah.
It's so tough for everybody right now. I mean, even as a contract manufacturer, it used to be having the buying power. Oh, I'm going to get the best possible price because I'm buying so much at once, right? Blankets, truckloads. But now it's more of a matter of being in the better good grace with these suppliers. It's now like, you know, it's not how much you're going to buy. It's who do we like better?
No, it's almost like they're doing you a favor.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're going to charge you $11 a pound or $10.50 a pound. And they're going to be like, well, I'm only going to get you so much.
Yeah, it's pretty much how it is right now. So it's crazy. I mean, we're thankful that we can get the product. It's probably a little bit better pricing than some of the others out there, but when you're talking paying $10-11 a pound for isolate right now, it's really not that much. So,
so then that's pushing brands, right? So that's compressing brands because the customer is only going to pay so much.
Yeah.
Prices are driving up, and it happens to us, right? Like we have you can only sell a snack for so much, right? You know, whether it's $3.49 or it's $3.99, at a certain point, someone's going to be like, $5 for a bar? Yeah. You know, $4 for a bar. They're gonna be like,
it's a lot.
Those guys are doing it for $2.49, so I'm gonna go get that over there. And so there's compression that happens on both sides. Where are you seeing it more in the proteins, in like the pre's, the aminos, like
definitely the proteins. And you know, at the end of the day, nobody really makes money on proteins. A lot of these brands, it's more of getting your foot in the door, getting your shelf, you know, your shelf appeal, and you know. All the other hero SKUs are around them. They're aminos or pre-workouts or test boosters or detox products, you know, any type of gut health product. But yeah, the proteins are really just kind of up there for fluff. It's in there just to have that brand up on the shelf, which is great. Don't get me wrong. They might make, you know, $1 or $2 here and there, but it's all their other SKUs that everybody's really making money on. So I mean, but it's like, okay, well, if they don't want to order from us or other manufacturers, somebody else is going to take that shelf space, and that could end up trickling down to other shelf space for that particular brand at these stores. So, you know, it's nuts. It's crazy times. But let's talk about you, Masterfoods, out of Florida, right?
Yeah, Florida.
Miami, Florida. Functional foods. So tell me, when did you first start Masterfoods?
So Masterfoods started in 2021. And the premise behind that was I was in gyms before, right? Brought CrossFit to South Florida in 2007, scaled it with Reebok to like 15 gyms around the world, Miami, New York, Dubai, kind of had like a single team in multiple locations, managing all these people, and brick and mortar business is so much different than what we do today. But you know, you had this constraint, this refinement. So like I see this badass gym and I'm like, I know all about this.
Yeah, you knew all the equipment right out there.
Yeah. I just knew it all. That was my world for so long. And you know, it's so awesome to be in the space that I'm in now where it's like there is no cap. There's no ceiling. You get to work with every great brand. You get to drive innovation for so many people. And you want to congratulate and push and help support the growth of that brand just as much as you want to win, because the more they win, the more you win. It's similar to what you guys are doing. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like you have your arms around these brands, right? Like, and we're going to war and we're going to win together. What do you need from me? Because I'm going to make it happen. And it's crazy, but there's not a lot of people, at least in my space, that think like that. Yeah. So I come from a completely different background. Like I am a gym guy where I'm going to help you get to the best shape that you're looking for. You're coming to me for something, right? Whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to gain weight, whether you want a six pack, whether you want to just look good naked, like you're coming to me for something. in that process, like I have to do something for you, right? I need to get you to win. But if you win, I win. And so I guess I just take that same approach in life, right? And that's the way that Masterfoods Labs operates, man. It's just every relationship I have, every brand I have is a partner. And I am going to go to war for that partner every single day. So started in 21 when I got out of the business and just like to go through the journey. I built up the CrossFit to about 15 gyms. At a certain point, my partner and I looked at each other and we're like, well, we don't own CrossFit and we don't own Reebok. They're two great brands, but we don't own these things, right? Like we were in 9th and Alton, 5th and 37th in New York City, 1 Union Square. We had crazy locations.
Those are good locations.
If I would have had a brand, 100 plus million exit, easy. And I was like, shit, first entrepreneurial chalk up lesson. I was like, you gotta have your own brand. So we pivoted. We started selling all the units off. And this was like around 2015. Started selling the units off. We kept the one in New York City and we turned it into a digital streaming hub. So it was 20,000 square feet, live and on-demand video platform. And this was the time of Peloton, Active. Digital streaming was just really popping off, 2016, 2017. We were in early. Just like I was in early with CrossFit, I was in early with digital streaming. And that thing started taking off. Built that up to a point where it was like 100,000 plus active subscribers, 20 plus countries, raised millions of dollars scaling that, but it was very competitive, right? A lot of money being spent on media buying, user acquisition, trying to figure out the LTVs of the customers and like, how were you going to be? And it was like a lot of hypotheticals. And at that point, my wife got diagnosed with MS and I was in New York City, flying up every Monday, coming back every Friday. I had a newborn in 2017 and I was just fucking lost, man. I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I'm flying up. I'm not with my family. My wife is sick. Like, what is happening? So I turned to my partner. I was like, man, I love you, bro, but I got to go home. I gotta go home. And I was making good money. We were doing well. Came back home and I had no idea what I was going to do. Like zero. And I was the breadwinner, right? So like I come home, I'm making $0. I probably got 6 to 8 months left to try to figure shit out.
Stressful.
Yeah. And so backs up against the wall. And I operate the best like that, but it sucks, but I operate the best like that. So I'm like, all right, I gotta figure this out. And I had met an influencer through that whole journey with the live and on demand down in South Florida that she flew up and we launched her brand. Her name is Ainsley Rodriguez. And I launched a brand for her called 321 Glow. So 321 Glow, we started with a nut butter. And that nut butter spread started taking off. We started doing great. I bought my first nut butter line. And that got me into the manufacturing. But I was manufacturing for that business because my co-man that I had went under during COVID. So this was 2020, behind the scenes, not an official brand yet. 2021 comes around and I'm like, there's so much opportunity in this space. I want to start selling this to others. And so went live with it 2021 and started going from nut butters. Then we launched cookies. Then from cookies went into brownies, muffins, and really focused on baked goods. So through that journey of baked goods, the customers were like, hey, can you do X? Can you do Y? Right? And they start pushing you, right? Like I'm sure you guys have gotten the same exact. They start pushing you. Can you do bars? And I'm like, well, there's a lot of bar manufacturers. I don't want to be another one, the baked goods side. And I always had this, like the baked goods side, there's not a lot of people that have been able to create and blend and formulate to create great tasting baked goods.
Accurately and testing.
Exactly.
We all know about the cookies out there that didn't test out.
Yeah. So, and it happens and it's crazy. So, but then it pushed me into buying the first Lab line. And then from there, started getting into bars and the bars. And so bars today is about 55% of our business and it's continuously to grow. Like we just added now new capabilities coming in for Q1, which I'm very excited about. So when you think dual layer slab bars, right? Like your First Form bars and your Alani News and your Bakery Barn, kind of like what they did first, where they created those layers, really started pushing a lot of brands launching those SKUs. And then on the back end now, recently, you have those large contract manufacturers being acquired. So what happens to the attention, the supply, or the ability to get line time? It gets compressed, right? Because they're working on their private label brands.
Sure.
And so
that's why we don't own brands.
Yeah, same. I don't. That's all I do is focus on the customers, my
Exactly.
partners, and then how do I continue to stay ahead of you and your growth?
That's the way to do it.
And so we just purchased a very large line. It's coming in February of 26. This is
Congrats.
dual layer. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Dual layer slab line. So caramels, nougats, soft textures, minus chill rollers, like the works. Dual enrobing, particulates, auto feeds, auto packing, boxing, like 400 a minute, like legit
Wow.
shit. So we're really excited about that line because it pushes us now into a different category, right? It pushes us into large scale, high volume, very complex type bars. But what it also allows us to do is like start working through new product formats. And so like WPI, right? We just talked about isolates and how like there's this whole compression on isolates. Chocolate went through its whole thing, right? So it didn't probably impact you guys as much, but you felt it on cocoa,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So like
Yeah.
that cocoa price started going nuts.
Yep.
Imagine when you have cocoa and chocolate covering your product, and 18 to 20% of your product is with chocolate,
I really thought about the functional food space on the cocoa. Yeah.
price gets crushed. So we're also adding in-house chocolate, right? So we believe that functional chocolates and the growth of functional chocolates, whether you want 25 or 30% protein chocolate, or whether you want an alternative sugar, right? Maltitol, erythritol, reduced sugar, or no sugar added, we're able to play into that. But if I can control the manufacturing of that, like full premix, melting, ball mills, into processing, into line, then I can control the supply of it. If I can control the supply of it and I source direct, then I'm able to always keep you in stock. And I'm always able to improve or one up your product. And that's all tied in line. So from premix and make, I don't even have to create a form. I don't have to get it into a chip or a wafer. I go straight into line, into curvature. Or I could turn it into a supply where I can supply other manufacturers, other brands with custom formula chocolate.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Smart.
So the evolution of Masterfoods Labs has been interesting, man, and exciting. And it's one of those that like you just get, we're adding more space. And
Yeah, you
constantly-
mentioned you're getting another location.
Yeah. We have 28,000 square feet now, SQF certified, gluten free, kosher, like
SQF
all-
certified.
Yeah.
Good for
This is
you.
our third year
Good
with
for you.
Costco addendum and everything.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so we literally operate under the strictest food standards, which is extremely freaking important.
Absolutely.
But more than anything, it's really to support the brand and the opportunity for that brand to go wherever they need to go, right? They get the call and they're like, hey, we're able to get into Costco or we're able to get into Target. They can confidently say, I have a manufacturer that operates in this standard and has the addendum, and they're able to support it. And not just support the entry level, which I'll talk a little bit about the model because I want to like understand how you thought through the model of building Simpson. But when I think through how I'm building it and the model that I'm thinking about, you always have that entrepreneurial kind of new product format innovation, and even brands that are doing 2, 3, 400 million, they don't want to tie up 400,000 or 500,000 dollars worth of inventory day one unless they already know they're going to move that volume. And it's a multi-SKU launch with already retailers buying it, right? For food, you have a much shorter shelf life, right? So 9, 12 months, like you start impacting a different experience to a customer versus 9, 12 months, 18 months in a powder, no impact. Like you're very minimal impact. For food, completely different ballgame, right? So you want to launch something on a lower level, so your MOQ has to be much lower, right? So for the average mid-scale contract manufacturer that you go to for functional foods, you're sitting anywhere between 150 to 400,000 units, right? Entry. With us, you can get started for 30,000 units. But the goal is we vet, and our partners, we really make sure
you want to make sure they can scale. Yeah.
And so we bet on you. And we have to bet on the right horses, right? And so we bet on you by giving you the ability to get in market with an innovative product or a great brand and launch a new SKU. But we know that you play the game. We know that we can support that rise to the 1 million+ units per month, right? And help you get into the large retailers or push into those. So I think that's where, from a model perspective, we're trying to like really focus on, hey, we want to help even great brands that are large scale launch new SKUs, drive innovation, but be able to test.
Yeah.
Come in with 50, 100,000 units per SKU, get 3 SKUs out the door for 300 versus 1 SKU out the door for 300, right? Multi flavors, really test the market, and then see if it moves and the velocity's there, pedal to the metal.
See, not everybody thinks that way because sometimes these brands, they want to order so much in the beginning and then it's not selling as quick as they wanted to. And now all of their, all their finances are now locked up and tied into this product that's sitting on a shelf. So I'm with you. I always tell our customers scale, start small. And like you, we vet our customers as well. We want to make sure that they have the drive, the passion, the marketing, that they're going to actually go out there and sell, and it's going to be a successful brand, a successful SKU. So we'll work with them to do these low MOQs, because at the end of the day, if they do a bunch and it's tied up, they're not going to reorder. And we just did a one-time run, and we probably didn't make a lot of money on it, because nobody really makes any money on a first-time run. So you want to make sure that you innovate, you make sure everything is perfect all the way around, the flavor, the function, the functionality, the supplement facts, nutritional facts panel, everything's got to be perfect. So that's good that you guys can actually scale at 30,000 bars, opposed to everybody else that's 100K plus. That's wild. I didn't even know that was a typical MOQ for a bar manufacturer.
Yeah, and still, it might be a little bit on the higher end.
Yeah.
Where when it comes to like getting off the ground, right? Like if you think about a small brand or somebody that's starting and has an idea, or everybody's got an idea, right? And they're going to be the next $10+ million brand. But you want to support those ideas sometimes, and you want to hear them out, and you want to see what they have, because you never know. That guy could have been a founder of previous XYZ company, has the experience, has the relationships, has some capital, and it wants to get off the ground. That guy's still going to be careful with his investment, unless you have direct retailers. You can pick up a phone, and you've already done it once, and you can do it again. So, I want to support that. And I think it's, you bet on the right people, you align yourself with great people. We have kind of like a policy in our company. It's like we don't deal with dickheads.
There you go. That's a great policy.
So honestly, that's a one that you just rule out pretty quick, man, because, you guys know this. You're going to deal with good times. You're going to deal with bad times.
Yeah.
And when you deal with both sides of those, you want to deal with someone that knows how to pick up the phone and call.
Definitely.
Like answer and deal with it together.
Yeah, it's surprising sometimes when I get on the phone with a customer or a brand new customer at that, and sometimes they don't realize they're talking to the founder, and they kind of act very surprised that there's an actual person that answers the phone, that will take their phone call at a manufacturing company. And I hear that all the time, because some of these big, huge manufacturing companies, it's just they got a call service, or they leave messages and nobody calls them. So it's we take a lot of pride in that. And like you, we have that rule too with customers and our staff. When we hire them or we take them on, no fucking drama.
Yep.
That's our number one thing. We don't want no drama.
That's it.
Ain't got no time for that shit.
But it starts with the culture, right? Like you said it, like if the no drama thing, it creates an internal kind of way of how we as a team will deal with our customers. We as a team will deal with our internal, kind of each other's, right? Like who's onto your left, who's to your right, like we're all in this together. So I think, being able to say like, hey guys, like there's no drama here. We're in this together. Like whatever you need, how can we support you? But like you create this team atmosphere. Like I saw the basketball hoop outside, and those things create the right environment, right? And that, believe it or not, man, that moves its way all the way into the brand, all the way into the product, all the way into the customer, because there is this kind of like everybody cares.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's hard to find. It really is hard to find.
It is. And I can't take all the credit for building this morale. Jesse, he's done a great job, team building with, all of our different divisions here in the company. And, Jesse's not in HR, but you would think he would be, because he cares so much. People come to him with their problems, their issues, personal stuff going on. He'll help motivate them every time. I hear his motivational speeches to the staff. It's amazing.
I think it's important what you touched on, like the culture. So I feel like that has a lot to do with it, right? So obviously me working with Eric, learning a lot from him, I pass that to the team. So the same way he cares about us and the staff, I'm the same way with everyone. And I think we've built a culture. I had an interview a few minutes ago, and that's kind of what I was saying. I said, the culture here, you'll see it's a little different. This is a business, and we're here to operate, to win. But at the same time, we want you to be comfortable. We want you to be in a place where you're motivated to grow, where you're like, I'm part of the company.
I'm part of something.
As I was walking the lady out, she said, man, it's great talking to you, right? I really don't talk to people in your position. I said, it's important to me. We built this from the beginning. I want to vet everyone that's coming here, because it has a lot to do with the culture. So huge that you're aware of that. And I think for us, I think that's one of the biggest things. The staff, they go above and beyond for Eric, for myself, for the customers, right? Because we kind of showed them, lead by example. This is how we do. Customer calls me, I'm jumping through hoops and trying to make it happen for them.
Yeah, and it's crazy. There's how many times you get on the phone with someone, they're like, man, you guys just answer the phone. Like, like I want to work with you guys because I get to talk to you and like you talk to me and like you care. And I'm like, well, isn't that the simplest shit of business? Isn't that the basics? Like, hey, how can I serve you? What can I do for you?
Yeah.
And together, we're going to win. But I mean, you see more oftentimes than not that that's just not reality.
Yeah.
Like, that's, great, more power, more business for us. So
Sometimes it's the simplest things, man. I mean, people ask the question all the time, like, what is the thing that made Simpson Labs so successful? Like, what is your model? And I tell people, it's very simple. Do what you say you're going to do. It's that simple.
that's how
Don't
much
fucking
that
sugarcoat
all
it.
the time.
Don't lie. Don't, hook, line, and sinker and try and get somebody in, get their deposit, and just kind of fucking write them off. Like, do what you say you're going to do. Hit the date you say you're going to do. Make the product you said you were going to be able to make. I'm the first person, like, I do all the quotes for the company. I'm the first person to look at something and I will tell you, no, this is not for us.
Yep.
I appreciate you reaching out. You might want to try a different manufacturer. This is not our strong suit.
Yep.
And, because I don't want to waste their time and I don't want to waste my time. So, I'll gladly, send them off, refer them to somebody I think would be a better fit for them versus us. But yeah, we want to make sure that, it's a good connection both ways. So,
Yeah, on that point, so I did want to ask you that, right? When I look at where we're building, I would say there's a lot less competition for me to do what I'm doing.
mhm.
It's difficult, but it's possible. But what you guys are doing, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of manufacturers out there, right? Like how still till today, where I know some large scale contract manufacturers and they're struggling to find, great accounts, right? And they're trying to figure out how to like grow and, or whatever. How are you feeling that like you're able to do it, right? What is the sauce behind what you're able to do that can get this company to keep growing year over year?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's a lot of competition out there, and when I was mentioning earlier, California, we are literally the hardest state to be successful, especially in a contract manufacturer like ours. Our labor is higher than everybody else's. We have taxes up the ass, workers' comp. You could sue me for pretty much just looking at you nowadays. I mean, everything is crazy, and the employers have everything going against them. So where I'm going with that is with all of that going against us, with all the high labor, our efficiency is really what puts us on the map. Our company model and how we treat our customers. That's really what separates us from a lot of other people, because just because we can doesn't mean we should. Yeah, we could charge a lot higher price for certain things for our service and our ability to scale and move stuff a lot quicker than other people out there, but we don't. We want to just pass that savings off to our customer because their success is ours. They sell out product really quickly, we're going to get another reorder. So, it's a back and forth thing. But you got all these other, states with different, regulatory aspects and laws where labor's cheaper out there and they're making more money per unit with these other brands. And yet we're coming in and we're still very competitive on the pricing. We're turning products quicker than we are, and we're hitting label claim. So yeah, that's definitely a big part on why a lot of people come to us. And it sucks because, we have a lot, I would say probably 70% of our accounts are on the East Coast. And the East Coast has so many manufacturing companies around them. But yet they're having product made all the way on the opposite side of the United States to get product from us to ship it all the way back over there. So we must be doing something right. And all we can do is keep doing what we say we're going to do and staying on top of everything and just being ahead of the curve. What's hot, what's trending, flavors, R&D, new sweetener systems, new natural colorants. I mean, there's so many different aspects that we bring. Our innovation center out in Carlsbad, that's such a busy operation out there. Those guys are kicking ass every single day. We're shipping out samples to, 7 to 10 different brands every single day. And that's another part of our success is the ability to actually get R&D samples out the door.
Yeah.
It's sometimes people ask when I'm talking to a new account and they're like, well, how long will it take to get samples? No, 3 to 5 business days. And they're like, we thought you were going to say weeks. And I'm like, really? They're like, yeah, a lot of our other guys that we work with, it takes them weeks to get out
I mean,
samples.
that's a
So,
huge unlock right there.
yeah,
I mean, that's massive.
the faster you get out samples, the faster we can get feedback or approvals, the faster it, ends up turning into POs at the end of the day. So that's one of the reasons we've invested very highly in our innovation center and anything R&D related, whether it be equipment, staff. We just renovated our R&D center. We got all new shelving and lights and desk, and we added additional staff members down there. And yeah, those guys are kicking ass. And we have R&D here at headquarters too, and our team here kicks just as much ass. A lot of times we'll have customers that are in the LA area. They'll come here and they'll actually do on-site flavoring. We'll do adjustments right there in our boardroom. They'll, mix and maneuver, change colors, pH, sweetener systems, whatever it may be. And we can actually get approvals a lot quicker by actually having the customer here on site and to do that. We'll do that half the time here at headquarters, and the other half will be out in the Carlsbad location. A lot of times if we want to do content and a lot of fun stuff, our customers will go out to the innovation center because it has a much bigger appeal when it comes to looks because of the build outs that we've done. But yeah, sometimes we're sending out samples. It could be weeks, months before something finally gets approved. If it's a very tough product to mask or flavor, it's just so much faster to fly them out here to our innovation center, spend 4 or 5 hours with our team, and leave on a plane the same day approving 20 different products. So it's so much quicker and more efficient that way. So, but
sometimes it's not that hard. So to recap, you do what you say you're going to do. Being a man of your word. I tell my son this all the time. I'm like, Babo, when you grow up, man, one of the best traits you can have as a man is when you shake somebody's hand and you look somebody in their eyes, you keep your fucking word no matter what.
Amen.
And you do that whether you're going to lose money, something happens, or it's going to cause some pain to you. You do it because you said you're going to do it. Yeah. And I've lost a lot of money because, I said I was going to do something and I said I was going to have it in this much time, and I have to do it, right? And it's just one of those things that it comes back and it pays dividends. So that's probably
Indeed.
Number one and the most important. 2, it's communicating, right? Like you guys just like, hey, pick up the phone. You're in the meeting with somebody that's going to be hired new, right? No matter what that position might be, the CEO of the company is going to see there and say hello and talk to you, right? Or it's answering the phone and talking to a customer, or walking through a quote, or telling them why it's not a right fit. Like communication is crazy critical, important, and I can't believe not more people do it. And then that constant drive and excitement for speed and innovation, right? Yeah. You're innovating at the speed of light, where like 3 to 5 day turnaround is crazy.
Yeah,
like that's wild.
Yeah.
So like good job, because that's not easy to do. I mean, we're like constantly trying to get product out.
Now, your system's a little bit tougher than ours. I can't. So run me through, how was your R&D process work? Because ours is simple. You send me a product, I'll quote it. If it looks good and the preliminary pricing looks good and the preliminary specs look great, just let us know what flavors. We'll go to town and we'll send you samples. But you got a lot of different scenarios going on just to get a bar out. So how do you do that?
The R&D process for a functional food is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Obviously, the product has to be made, and there is components you don't deal with a powder in a food item, right? Where if it's a baked item, everything from the ingredients you're utilizing, how does it bake out? What are the temperatures? Can you get the bake? Can you get time in the oven from an R&D? Because you want to use the right ovens to make sure that you have the same type of experience on your product. Or is it a bar, right? Are you doing a single bar or a dual bar? Is it covered in chocolate? Do you have to run it through an enrober, right? There's a lot more nuances to it. And then the initial phases, because you're dealing with texture, because you're dealing with experience, you're dealing with your flavor, and you're dealing with your macro counts. You formulate this concept just like you guys would, right? And you go into the lab for that first V1 and you create a sample, right? Something's going to happen. It's going to be too dry. It's going to be too wet. It's not going to bake out right. It's going to need more time in the oven. It's going to overcook, whatever the case may be, right? Too high. Then you test it out. You have too high water activity. That's not going to be shelf stable. There's going to be an impact over time. So all these things come after that first initial kind of like you take a recipe and you throw it into a benchtop. From there, internally, we go through multiple rounds of revisions internal before the customer's even getting their first sample. It doesn't mean we're not working on your product. It means we're actually working on your product behind the scenes to ensure that hey, we've tested it out. We make sure that it works well. Everybody that we've had multiple sensory tests, right? Even on a final. So there probably goes through 3 to 4 different iterations before it at least gets to the point where I'm approving a sample to go out, right? Or we as a team are approving a sample to go out to the customer for V1. The goal is that V1 gets you 80 or so % there.
V1.
Version 1.
Version 1. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So version 1, we want to get you as close to possible on an approval, right? We want you to come back with this type of feedback. I like the sweetener and the flavor to be like this. I like the texture to be a little bit harder, a little bit softer. I want this type of experience versus that. Like it's becomes more adjustments versus full reformulation. So the initial, like I would say, timeline for conversation kickoff, like we're going into R&D project, till the time we get a sample out is around 2 to 3 weeks. That's
Okay.
like, it's a little bit longer. It's
Okay.
like a serious like development side. And then from there, you get a V1. When you're in V1, at this point, within a week or two, right after you giving us feedback, we have a product that's approved.
Excellent.
But a lot of that work is knocking out, you're creating a food product. And so you have to think through a lot of the stability, the testing, the experience, the flavors, the reaction. You let it sit. How does it change over time? And so food is a little bit more complex. It takes a little bit longer, but you're looking at anywhere between 3 to 6 weeks from initial project kickoff to approved product.
Got it. Okay.
And the timeline on some people, it's a little bit longer, right?
Well, sure.
So like we deal with some customers that their project roadmap is like 12 to 16 months
Wow.
from initial. And think about that from a business perspective.
Yes.
I am working through formulations, back and forth, testing, QA.
For an order you're not going to
reviews
see for over a
for
year.
a fucking year.
Oh my goodness.
And, it's just sometimes, I have customers that I've worked on for 2.5 years.
Yeah. It was a
And,
long time.
finally getting it across the finish line, right? So those are projects that, and even in our space, like we just kind of have to go through this cycle. But the biggest thing is for us is how fast can we move and how can we drive innovation while servicing the demand, right? 'Cause everybody wants something that's different, something that's unique, and something that's special, right? They don't just want another, Me Too product. A protein's a protein, and you're flavoring it a certain way, but it's a protein, right? A protein bar is a protein bar. You can't just flavor it a different way. If you just flavor the protein bar a different way, but you keep the same exact structure and the same exact coating and the same, like, they're going to be like, oh, that's just like XYZ guys, right? And we all know that happens, right? So for me as a manufacturer, I need to try to protect, I need to try to drive innovation and IP around this customer's product. What can I do that's going to separate that person's brand from that person's brand? How do I give that person a different experience than that? So I'm almost like trying to help the brand come out with something different, which hurts me because it takes more fucking time. But once I get you across the finish line, I have confidence that I'm giving you the runway. I'm giving you something you can run with, right? Against the competitors, against what's on the shelf, against what you're going to have to call XYZ retailer and say, hey, I have this for you. They're going to say, oh, cool, but I got a cookie for you. Okay, cool, but I got Lenny and Larry's and they're moving $120 million a year. And I got Quest, they're doing about $90 million a year in cookies. So you want me to take off that volume and velocity to put on a potential? Yeah, but this has no artificial flavors, colors, sweeteners. It's sweetened with honey. It's got natural ingredients. And so that's where the trends are going. Nobody's leaning into, all this other shit that are in these fillers. Like this is not a bar in a cookie shape. This is an actual cookie that's utilizing dates and honey. And so there's an angle, right? And I'm using that as an example, but you have to give the brand the ammo. So since I understand the retailer and I'm thinking all the way to the consumer, I'm saying, what does the consumer want? What does the retailer want for that consumer? Because they want that consumer to come to the store and have the option to buy and spend money in the store, because that's the whole point of the store. And so then how do you as a brand get something you can give that retailer that they're going to be like, oh, no, I want that. I need that. Yeah, you're right. It is moving away from artificial, all of this, and it's going into more natural sweetened products. So utilizing the dates and the honeys. You know what? You're right. I don't have a cookie that goes in that shit. Let's go. And then it opens up the conversation. So that takes a little bit more time for me. But, I think that since I feel like I'm shaping a little bit the industry and driving innovation, I'm I'm excited about that. So it takes a little bit longer, but we get some great stuff out.
No, it's great. I mean, everything I've tasted that came out of your factory is great. Actually, I think I first knew you and met you when you guys did the Moose Tracks,
Oh yeah,
the Moose Tracks
Yep,
bars
yep.
for
Core.
Core. That was those are great.
Those are delicious.
Man, they sent me cases of them. Dude, the
Yeah,
whole
I went through
staff.
all those.
Yeah, I
Those are
mean,
delicious.
Jesse had to start working out because he ate so many of them. So
Yeah, the blondes were my favorite. So
my
it's
kids loved them too.
super impressive explaining the process. I mean, of the R&D and I guess launching a product, right? I mean, the amount of time it's taking and still sticking through it. Like you said, you're the one trying these new things behind the scenes to offer something in the customer. Where do you see like the innovation in your industry going? Where like is it the healthy, what you're saying, the dates and everything, or I mean, is it different presentation?
When you think through the brand's ability to create innovation in the space for functional foods, and I think there's a hockey stick style growth that's ahead of us. A brand is going to want something that is either different in format, meaning it's a different, whether it's a muffin or it's something that hasn't been done, right? So it's a different format, where a protein bar is still a protein bar, okay? To take shelf space on a protein bar, it's going to be harder than it is to say I have a muffin when there's one other muffin, right? It's so you think through product formats. So how can you create innovation on product format? One. The second one would be, how can I create a experience that elevates or is different? And I'll give you an example. So when Built created this kind of like collagen gelatin style bar, and it was different, they almost had to create the demand for that product. But once it hit and they got customers to like that experience, it was by itself. There was nothing else that was like that. Same thing with like Bear Bells, where they went way more into the glycerin maltitol kind of like really soft, chewy texture, and they went into the flavors and multi SKUs, and it took time to get to that. But once the consumer found that and they started to experience it and enjoy it, it became a SKU with an experience and it became a top seller, right? So how do you create a different eating experience with the product? That's the second one. And that could come from layering, that can come from textures, that can come from ingredient recipe formulations that create different experience from a texture perspective, or even from flavor profiles. You might say like, hey, we can get into savory, right? Where savory hasn't been done so much in bars or crispy treats or whatever. Shit, a brand doing a savory kind of lineup is a whole thing on its own. Let's think about dudes, football, instead of having nachos and all that, you have a nacho, just like the salty snacks, right? Mm-hmm. Think about a crispy bar with a whole savory angle, right? So it's just kind of trying to find an angle and then be brave enough to go take that and go build a market into it. So that would be texture experience. And I think the third one is where you lean into the functionality of the product, right? So you think through a mother that has a newborn, and it's how can you help that mother solve a problem that she probably has? Well, she's probably trying to lactate and she's probably trying to feed the baby, and how can you get something made for her? So maybe there's a lactation product, right? So how do you put, product ingredients, functional ingredients that could help solve that person's need or problem? All the way down to the basis of where longevity is going, right? And utilizing kind of like all these active ingredients, right? And formulating them in a food product, where now you start blending the line between nutrition and supplement, right? And now you're leaning into vitamins and you're leaning into like other, actives. That I would say is kind of where a lot of growth is going to come. The colostrums and that, like, there's just so many angles, so many brands. You start really going to the nutrition, the everyday consumer, and solving a problem for the everyday person in a different format, where they're getting it today on their powders and pills, but maybe they want to have an experience to eat it. Maybe they want a brownie at nighttime that's going to help them go to sleep, right? Or you know what I'm saying? There's just, that's where I think those three innovation angles, leaning into any one of them or more than one of them at a time, is going to create a huge growth. And that's where brands are going to find innovation.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. Do you do any like energy bars?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
We do energy bars.
Yeah.
So what's in a typical energy bar?
So you can go a couple different ways. You can go the traditional kind of caffeine in a product. You can go cleaner energy, L-theanine. You can kind of like go the route of, ketones and, the Go BHB kind of format. And so there's different ways to slice an ingredient, but it's like kind of saying where people want to go creatine, right? Like creatine in a bar. Right? So what do you think about when you think creatine in a bar? Because I think creatine in food is awesome, but I can't put it in a baked good because it's not heat stable. I can't put it in a product that's going to be, too wet because it's going to start activating. It's going to change the structure. So what is the bioavailability of that product in processing, and what's the impact of processing on that ingredient? Does it degrade in heat? Can it withstand any type of structure or processing stuff? So all of that is what's going to allow you to say whether you can or cannot utilize an ingredient to formulate with. But you take every single one as it's a stable ingredient and say, okay, can it be processed? What would happen? Like a probiotic, like a prebiotic, like putting that in a baked good, you're going to get degradation, right? So it just depends. What's the ingredient? How stable is it in processing? And then what is the post-processing final product test? Day 0 and then day 90, 180, right? Mm-hmm. Like how does it, sit on shelf over time?
Interesting. Yeah, you were mentioning about trying to get different protein actives. Have you done like the beef isolate route? Have you done any type of beef?
I've done a beef isolate before in a product. It was a baked good. And as soon as you put beef isolate in a liquid, like it turns into like an acidic kind of like it doesn't have the best taste, right? It's not like a collagen, right? Where collagen has a clean gelatin style, it's actually utilized in the majority of our baked goods, right? Mm-hmm. We utilize collagen a lot. To 90%, we can lean into it for protein claim, but then at the same time, it helps with structure and, creating the soft, chewy texture that you're looking for baked goods. I'm not giving away my secrets here because, you need a baked good, you can probably come to somebody like me. But the truth is you lean into every ingredient to kind of get both the macro, hit on the NFP panel, but at the same time, the bright structure and texture that you want. So beef isolate has been one that we play with, but we just don't utilize a lot of it.
Got it. Because, a lot of people are trying to do, new beef isolates because it's nearly half the price of whey isolate right now. So I was just curious if anybody had brought that up to you.
Have you tried flavoring with it? Like, have you found one that isn't?
Yeah. We've been dabbling. So we've got a lot of samples that are, circulating around the industry right now. So I'm sure you'll see some of those very soon. But
nice.
Yeah, a lot of beef isolate going around. So
I mean, if you ever find it where you can mask it and we can utilize it in a baked good, then maybe I can,
there you go.
do a little collab on a baked good.
I think that's a great idea.
Applied by Simpson Labs.
We should definitely do that.
It's a good idea.
That'd be great. I'm sure there's a lot of ingredients you guys have tried to dabble with and just had no success, right? Had to maybe, cancel that. I mean, anything that you recall that was something you wanted to work with, like an ingredient you wanted to achieve and you just wasn't working out because of the process? Because now that I think about it, I'm like, it's a lot different than what we do. I mean, I feel like you guys are really trying to figure things out that haven't been done in a way.
Yeah. And I would say that I think that's where I get the most amount of excitement. I think it's so cool, man, to be like in a point where there really isn't something and then you're trying to figure it out, or you're doing the initial kind of like R&D and discovery and testing and validation and third-party analysis to try to figure out whether or not it worked or it didn't, right? And creatine is one. Like we've been messing with it for quite some time. We're close. And it's just the degradation on the product over time, right? And I don't want to be the guy that puts it out there in a real limelight under the right brand and it not hit. It's not going to happen. Like I will be the brand that when it puts it out there, we have it all back. Like
you want to stand behind
everything. And so I think that's where there's a lot more testing. There's a lot more kind of work that has to go into it to make sure we have the confidence to say, yeah, we're going to put our name in, because it's your reputation, right? Like it's everything. You can have one mistake and it can ruin everything, right? So
that's going to be tough trying to figure out your overages too at the end of the day, right? Because you're baking and baking degrades actives.
Yeah, some products you can't put into baking. There's just some ingredients I won't be able to do a baked good with, and we have to push it more into. Yeah, like for example, like creatine. I'm not baking creatine. It's not
no big creatine.
It's just not. There's too much risk, right? When you bake something, you have to have a liquid profile. You can encapsulate the creatine and it can help protect it, but at a certain point, there's going to be degradation.
Do you do any type of like chips?
We don't do chips, but we do vertical form fill when it comes to pre-made like extrusions, right? So say there's a protein puff, protein chip, something that is extruded and we can get it as a supply, we can pack it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so we're working with certain protein houses, right? The larger ones that are supplying us with, hey, these are all these different flavor profiles, all these different textures, this different percentage of proteins, and they got some delicious stuff.
It sounds fun.
Delicious.
Very cool.
I'm a big I feel like savory, man, is gonna have a swing. Like I've said it once, I'm gonna say it again. I think savory's got to play, where the salty has a play, right? Like the chips are killing it. For the brands that have chips out there that have a good brand, they're killing it. But there's not that many people that are out there manufacturing that, right? There's very few. But I think that the savory angle as a whole, both in baked goods, bars, whatever, I think it's gonna have a run.
Nice. Pretzels. I've been seeing protein pretzels out there nowadays.
Yeah, we do some of those.
You do those?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you did or not.
Yeah, we enrobe protein chocolate over pretzels and pack them and
Amazing.
multi flavors.
That's so fun.
Yeah, that's another thing. You could put you can get creative with the chocolate. You can put functional ingredients in chocolate. You can put protein into the chocolate. Now you can utilize the chocolate to improve everything from a brownie, because you utilize it within the base, all the way to a bar, whether it's a inclusion or whether it's a coverage, right? So bars that were traditionally sitting at 20 grams of protein with this kind of heavy isolate or crisp-based structure can get to 25
Interesting.
just because of protein.
That's awesome. Yeah, savory's big. We not too long ago we did a product for somebody for a brand. It was chicken and waffles.
Yep, I have it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Seriously?
I just have it in
Oh
my
God.
cabinet.
So I even gave it to my wife, and she's like, I don't know, because she loves chicken and waffles. And she tried it, and she's like, I kind of like it.
Yep.
And I
Actually,
was
even
like,
the
so do
smell
I.
is a little off, and then you drink, and you're like, oh, you get the sweet note with that. So it was like the sweet and savory.
It was different, yeah.
Fire.
That's the first time we did something like that. And then now we've done a bunch of other stuff over time. But yeah, that was one of the first ones. And then, the pickle train started up last year.
That was good.
Everything started doing
The
pickles.
hydrate.
So yeah, we did a pickle hydrate, and that I like pickles, but I'm like, that's fucking nasty. Who the hell's gonna drink that
hate
shit?
pickles.
Hate it.
Hate it.
And then
but I was drinking that.
I crack one open. I'm like, oh my God, this is really good.
Yeah.
So now we do a lot of pickle stuff all over the place. So yeah, it's
So
always
see,
the ones you don't
that's
think
the
that would
angle
do
with
good.
doing something that's outside of the norm, right?
Yeah.
Like you're almost pushing a boundary in a test, and then you're like, oh, there's a market. Like there's a market for something that's outside of the norm.
Yeah. It's super cool. And I like how you get exciting, when you're doing something new. Like we're the same way. Like we've launched and are continuing to launch new flavors that have never been done out there in our industry, whether it be a protein or pre-workout. And that stuff's so fucking exciting. It's so cool.
Man.
Yeah. I love it.
Guys, thank you so much, man. This has been great. The tour, the whole space. Congrats on everything.
Thank
man.
you.
And
Thank
also
you. Appreciate the support.
I also want to say thanks for just true friendship. I think it's super important in this space just to have people you can call and lean on.
Real
I
people.
hope you guys see that in
Real
me.
people.
I'm here for whatever you guys have and anything you guys need.
I appreciate man.
that.
Congrats on all your success, man.
Thank you.
You're the only person I personally know that are in the manufacturing of functional foods, and that's super awesome. It's good to know that I actually, anybody that asks me anything of that nature, I always refer them to you directly.
Thank you, bro. I really do appreciate
not
it.
just because you're the only person I know, but I trust you. I mean,
that's big.
You're very trustworthy. You're very well spoken. You have a great reputation out there, and even if I did know other manufacturers, I'd still send them your way. So, but yeah, congrats on all the success, and yeah, look forward to seeing your new location here come.
Once I get that up, I'm going to put a nice little event together.
We're coming.
Get everybody
great.
down there.
We're all
for sure.
coming down. So get those goddamn savory snacks ready to go.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thanks.
Appreciate
Mike.
it, man.
All right, brother.
Keep it real, y'all. Got to keep it real, y'all. Keep it real, y'all.